Hey everyone, welcome to your next video learning journey in this data science interview preparation. So team, you already know how this field is actually growing. It is growing at an unprecedented pace and there's a lot of amazing opportunities that we have got out there. Now, one question that every learner would ask me every time, whether it is in live bootcamp or whether it is offline, is how can I prepare myself for an interview? So in this video journey, I've decided to share you some of the important questions that you need to be familiar and some of the things that you need to keep in mind while preparing for your first data science interview. So let's get started. So as part of this video, I'll take you through some of the basic questions on the data. If you've got any feedbacks, please let me know in the comment section so that we can incorporate it as we move forward in this video journey. So this video, I'll keep it very simple. So we'll stick to the basics and we'll cover some of the important basic questions that you need to be aware of. Now, the key topics that I'm focusing in this video is about the basic questions related to data science and more specifically data. So you might be already familiar with the concept of data. If not, I recommend you to check out the statistics for data science video series where we have described in detail under the statistics foundation. All right, do check out the link in description. You can check out our YouTube channel for the complete video series on the statistics where you can master around it. So let's start with the basic questions on data. See, the first thing that people would expect is, what do you know about the data science? So one of the commonly asked question, especially for the fresher, is explain the steps that is involved in data science. Now, even though it sounds silly, it is one of the very important question and you should ensure that you answer it in a correct way. The reason is, with this question, the person who is interviewing you, he's trying to assess whether you know the overall process of data science or whether you simply apply the model. Now, one way that you can answer this basic question about the steps involved in the data sciences. So let me just write down the steps. Steps involved in data science. That's the first question I mentioned, right? So here, the key steps that are involved in this data science is first getting the data from the data source. That is data acquisition. Then you have to generate the research question from the data. That means once you get the data, you'll start asking the question. You have to start thinking about each and every column in those data set and start asking those questions. And then identify the important variables that are present in the given data set. Now, once you have identified those important variables, you also have to understand what are the types of the variables that you have got in the data set. Post that, you will generate the hypothesis, fit the model from the analyzed data set, and at the end, accept or reject the hypothesis, and finally, answer the research question which you have actually described in the first initial steps. So if I want to write down the same, I'll say data acquisition. The next one is ask the questions on the data. That means when you're planning and when you're getting started, when you're extracting the data, so you will be doing the data extraction with a purpose. For example, if you're working on a retail sector, you're interested in identifying the customer sales. So you will acquire the data and you'll start posing those questions. Then once you start posing those questions, you are going to identify the various variables that we have got in the data set. Post that, you are going to generate the hypothesis. Now, if I want to continue with the retail example, let's say you have got the columns of number of mobiles sold and the profit margin with you and the date in which the mobiles has been sold. You are going to create a hypothesis saying that, okay, during the festival period, the number of mobiles sold will be very high. So that is the generation of hypothesis. Now, once you have generated the hypothesis, you are going to analyze the data to test the hypothesis. Now here, while testing, you will also make use of the statistical method as well as the graphical methods as well. Then if required, you'll also fit a model, and after that, you're going to accept or reject the hypothesis. Finally, you are going to answer the question from step 2. So these are the key steps that are being involved in data science. All right, folks. Now moving on. Once this question has been asked, so maybe you will be asked to give an example. So you can quote the example just like I have quoted. So get a data set. You are going to ask some important questions depending on the problem statement. And you will say that you're going to identify the variables, generate the hypothesis, and so on and so forth. Now, once you answer this question, obviously, from the answers that you make, the interviewers will be tempted to go deeper into the data related knowledge. So he is going to ask you a few questions like, okay, tell me about the various types of variables or the types of data that you are going to come across. Now, when we talk about the types of variable, see, first and foremost, there are two types of variable, dependent variable and the independent variable. So dependent variable is a data where the value that is being affected, okay, it's a output column. That is what we call it as an dependent variable. And independent variable is nothing but the input data. In my retail example, so which I just described earlier, I've got various columns of mobile phones, mobile phone sold, time in which it was sold, and the profit and so on. Let's assume I'm interested in predicting the number of mobiles sold, then the number of mobiles sold, that will be my dependent variable. The other items that I've got in my data set, that is other columns, will be my independent variable. Okay, variable being affected, that's my dependent variable, and variable affecting the outcome is my independent variable. So this is about the variables. Now let's talk about the data. Now when I say data, see, the data can be of two types. One is a categorical variable and the other one is a numerical variable. And we have learned in depth in our statistical learning journey. I'm repeating again, statistics is very important. If you're new to statistics, I highly recommend you to check out the playlist that we have got on our YouTube channel so that you learn in depth about the statistics. So categorical variable is also known as qualitative data. So under this categorical variable, we also have further classification. We have got the nominal data, and we also have an ordinal data. And under the numerical variable, we have got discrete and continuous. Okay, so this is how we classify the data set. Now in this nominal data, it is just the named collection. It is just the collection of names. So example can be favorite color, nationality, gender, and so on. And ordinal data is kind of a data where there is an ordering involved. Numerical variable, we have got continuous and discrete. So continuous, you can think of it for the easier understanding. Wherever you come across a floating point, you can think of it as a continuous value. And wherever you see a finite set of integers, then you can think of it as a discrete. So that is how we classify the data. And this is one of the most commonly asked basic question in an interview, the types of data and the difference between nominal and the ordinal data. So with this, we come to the end of this video. Now, what I'll be doing is, going forward, I'll be adding more questions and more videos in the topic of data science interview, which will help you to prepare yourself for the next job role as a data scientist. So if you have got any suggestions and feedback, please let me know in the comment section. I look forward to hearing from you. So thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.